Okay, we'd like to get started with the regular council meeting. I would like to call to order the Oregon City Council regular meeting for June 9th, 2025. The time is 7:01 PM. Please join me in standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Ms. Snyder, if you would please take a roll call of council members present.
Mrs. Ackerman? Here. Mr. Drake?
Here.
Mr. Horniak? Mrs. Paula?
Here.
Mr. Reeves?
Here.
Mr. Solander?
Here.
Mr. Wallensack?
Here. Please note that all council members are here except Mr. Horniak, who called me today. He had a family emergency that he's up at the hospital with, and he has to be excused from tonight's meeting. So I would like to seek a motion to excuse Mr. Horniak.
So move.
Thank you, Mr. Drake.
Second.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff. Council, any objections? Hearing none, Mr. Horniak is excused from tonight's meeting. Also present at tonight's meeting is our Mayor, Michael Safarian, our City Administrator, Joe Major, our Clerk of Council, Josette Snyder, our Law Director, Melissa Papora, our Public Service Director, Paul Roman, our Police Chief, Brandon Began, our Assistant Police Chief, Ryan Spangler, our Fire Chief, Clayton O'Brien, and our Assistant Fire Chief, Mark Mullen, and our Finance Director, Nick Roman. Next order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from the May 27th, 2025 regular council meeting and the June 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting. Council.
Mr. President,
Mr. Sandlander.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the May 27th, 2025 regular council meeting and June 2nd, 2025 committee of the whole meeting as presented.
Thank you, Mr. Sandlander. Do we have a second? Second by Mr. Wallensack. We have a motion by Mr. Sandlander, second by Mr. Wallensack. Does anyone have any objections? Hearing none, meeting minutes are accepted as presented. We have, the first item is on the agenda is persons of delegations. We have no one signed in to speak, so we will move on to our agenda. Excuse me. We need to add item 108 of 2025 to tonight's meeting or agenda. Can I seek a motion to add this item to the agenda?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
so moved.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff. Second by Mr. Wallensack. Council, are there any objections? Hearing none, item 108 of 2025 has been added to tonight's agenda. The first item on the agenda for passage is item number 103 of 2025, presented by our Mayor Safarian and Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien. Chief O'Brien, do you have anything to add to the ordinance?
Mr. President, I do not.
Okay, thank you. Council, do you have any questions for the administration? Hearing none, I will assign item 103 of 2025 as ordinance 103 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to read it into the record.
Authorizing the fire department to submit an application with the Federal Emergency Management Agency for funding for the Staffing for Adequate Fire and Emergency Response Grant and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President,
yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 103 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Sallender. We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, second by Mr. Sallender. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Horniak? Oh, sorry. Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 103 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 104 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and Fire Chief Clayton O'Brien. Mr. O'Brien, anything to add on item 104 of 2025?
Mr. President, there's nothing to add.
Thank you. Council, are there any questions for the chief? Hearing none, I will sign 104, item 104 of 2025 as ordinance 104 of 2025, and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to purchase turnout gear for fire department personnel from Fire Safety Services Incorporated, 6228 Township Road 95, Huntsville, Ohio, in the amount not to exceed $100,107 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 104 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
yes,
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 104 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas and 0 nays. Our next item on the agenda for passage is item number 105 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian, excuse me, and Public Service Director Paul Roman. Mr. Roman, anything to add? No, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council, are there any additional questions to item 105? Hearing none, I will assign item 105 of 2025 as ordinance 105 of 2025 and ask Ms. Schneider to please read it into the record.
Accepting the bids of Ebony Construction Company Incorporated, 3510 Centennial Road, Sylvania, Ohio, for project number 1. Crestline Paving and Excavating Incorporated, 1913 Nebraska Avenue, Toledo, Ohio, for project number 2. Henry W. Bergman Incorporated, 218 East 9th Street, Genoa, Ohio, for project number 4, and Vernon Nagel Incorporated, 0154 County Road 11C, Napoleon, Ohio, for project number 5, for furnishing labor, materials, and equipment for the 2025 roadway improvement program, authorizing the mayor, director of public service, and finance director to enter into a contract with said contractors and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council?
Mr. President,
Yes, Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 105 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Ms. Second. And Mrs. Pauloff, and second by Mr. Wallensack. Thank you, Mr. Wallensack. We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, second by Mr. Wallensack. Ms. Snyder, will you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
yes,
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 105 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 106 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and our Public Service Director, Mr. Paul Roman. Mr. Roman, anything to add?
No, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council, are there any additional questions on item 106 of 2025 for Mr. Roman? Hearing none, I will assign item 106 of 2025 as ordinance 106 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor, finance director, and director of public service to enter into an agreement with Kleinfelder, 1168 North Main Street, Bowling Green, Ohio, to provide professional engineering services for final design, construction administration, and construction inspection for Oregon Multi-Use Trail Phase 2 in an amount $19,753 and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President,
Mrs. Pauloff.
I move for passage of ordinance 106 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Drake. Thank you, Mr. Drake. We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, second by Mr. Drake. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mrs. Pauloff?
Yes.
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Mr. Wallensack?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 106 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas to 0 nays. The next item on the agenda for passage is item number 107 of 2025, previously presented by Mayor Safarian and our Finance Director, Nick Roman. Mr. Roman, anything to add?
Thank you, Mr. President. I just wanted to mention that I did put flyers for this program in the conference room if any council members want to take it, just so you have the information for the program. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council, are there any additional questions on item 107? Hearing none, I will sign item 107 of 2025 as ordinance 107 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing the mayor and finance director to enter into an agreement with Lucas County and the city of Maumee to file a combined application under the Community Housing Impact and Preservation Program to address local housing needs and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President.
Mr. Wallenczak.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for passage of ordinance number 107 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mr. Wallenczak.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. Thank you, Mr. Salander. We have a motion by Mr. Wallenczak, second by Mr. Salander. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Wallenczak?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Mrs. Ackerman?
yes,
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mr. Reeves?
Yes. Thank you. Ordinance 107 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas to 0 nays. We are on the last item on tonight's agenda for consideration and passage is item number 108 of 2025 being presented by Mayor Safarian and our Public Service Director, Paul Roman. Mr. Roman.
Thank you, Mr. President. This ordinance is needed to accept a warranty deed right-of-way take from the Oregon Town Center property that's located at the southeast corner of Isaac Streets Drive and Navarre Avenue. The warranty deed is just being requested from the city in case there's a need of a dual left turn lane from Isaac Streets Drive to Navarre. It's just prudent to ask for that now prior to any development versus trying to acquire right away later on after there's a development and a sign. So we're just trying to get it up front. So being donated, but of course that was our property before it went to the developers. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Council, any questions for Mr. Roman on item 108 of 2025? Hearing none, I will assign item 108 of 2025 as ordinance 108 of 2025 and ask Ms. Snyder to please read it into the record.
Authorizing and directing the mayor to officially accept and execute a warranty deed for public highway and road purposes from Oregon Town Center LLC 5215 Monroe Street, Suite 8, Toledo, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you, Ms. Snyder. Council,
Mr. President.
Mr. Wallenczak.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move for passage of ordinance number 108 of 2025 as an emergency measure.
Thank you, Mr. Wallenczak.
second,
Second by Ms. Pauloff. We have a motion by Mr. Wallenczak, second by Ms. Pauloff. Ms. Snyder, would you please take a roll call vote of council?
Mr. Wallenczak?
Yes.
Mrs. Pauloff?
yes,
Mrs. Ackerman?
yes,
Mr. Drake?
Yes.
Mr. Reeves?
Yes.
Mr. Solander?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 108 of 2025 does pass with a vote of 6 yeas, 0 nays. Having considered all items on the agenda this evening, we will now move on to the mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. President. Council, you see the correspondence from the Fire Rescue Department. I have an appointment to make, and I'm going to ask council's concurrence in the appointment of Jared Lerma of 215 Douglas Drive, Archibald, Ohio, and it is to the position of full-time firefighter 1. So Lerma will be placed at step 4, which is an hourly rate of $26, 34.37 cents an hour, which is an annual salary of $68,493.67. The effective startup date is Tuesday, June 16th, 2025. And once again, I'd ask council's concurrence in the appointment of Jared Lerma to firefighter 1.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council,
Mr. President.
Mrs. Pauloff.
I move to concur with the mayor's appointment of Jarrett Lermer as a full-time firefighter 1 in the fire department effective Tuesday, June 16th, 2025.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff. Do we have a second?
Second.
Was it Mr. Sandler? Mr. Drake? We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, second by Mr. Drake. Council, any objections? Hearing none,
Mr. President?
yes.
I've had several citizens ask me why we hire so many people from so far away. Is there no one that is closer to where we live? So in case of a large-scale emergency, I mean, if no one else applied, no one else applied, but it is a concern of citizens that we have so many emergency personnel people that are so far away from our vicinity.
Mr. Mayor,
Well, I'll start and I'll leave Chief O'Brien go too. Ms. Ackerman, we went through a lot to get to the point we are to even find people to hire. We had hiring practices. We had paid-on-call people here that lived here that couldn't respond to the calls. So we tried every option to get people that we could come up with, having the paid-on-call folks promote to try to get additional personnel. We tried every method we could. So now we have scheduled workers, and it's not an easy thing to find. We tried for years to fill the ranks, and the people just weren't there. We tried every option. We told, there was some dissension that happened from the paid-on-call folks, but we offered them the opportunity to find other folks such as themselves. No one could, we come up with none. And so we have the best opportunity for people to respond right now, better than we had in years. So it's a tough market out there, and I think I'd let Chief O'Brien go on and explain maybe a little more in detail, but it's not that we didn't try.
Chief O'Brien?
Thank you, Mr. President. Ms. Ackerman, so our department has changed over the last few years in the transition of our department into what we would call that full combination department of a part-time, full-time department. Doesn't heavily rely on individuals responding in from home. The goal of our department is to essentially have paid on-call staff, full-time and part-time at the station, so they can actually staff the trucks, and then those trucks are staffed to be able to go out. So when there's a need for additional, what we've done since I've been here at the end of '22, we've established those mutual aid contracts. So essentially now, where it was before, you would have a general alarm, and then it would dispatch out to the community or to the local responder, if you will. That local responder then would respond to the stations, they would respond to trucks. And to what the mayor was referring to is that has drastically decreased just because of the call volume. And so you get to a point where there's too many calls for the actual staff to be able to handle, and then there's general alarm happening all the time. So where we're at now is where we're trying to get to where we would never have a general alarm. And I see in the next 3 to 5 years, we wouldn't have a general alarm unless it was something major, you know. And I would say the last major big fire like that would have been the ship fire. But your normal house fire, your normal room and contents fire, those types of fires are handled with enough personnel that are on shift and then with our mutual aid. So if the battalion chief arrives on scene, identifies that this is a working fire and we don't have enough staff between who automatically responds, which is Oregon and Jerusalem together, then they would then call what a working fire. Working fire then calls Toledo's, another engine, another battalion, or another chief, another safety officer. So those mutual aid contracts that weren't in place before are now. And so that's just the transition of where we're at today with the fire department. I do think, though, I will say, like, cultural, with our culture being able to shift, it's not that we're not getting personnel from, the amount of applicants. I think on this last list, we had 15 qualified applicants, which is a pretty decent amount for that position. But we look for the best. And so I do believe that it's all about who you are as a firefighter, what your reputation is as an EMS provider, but also what you bring to the table to Oregon. We're not looking just to fill open seats, and we're not also looking to, just because you live close, you get the job. That's not always the best hiring practice. Because at the end of the day, as long as they show up at 7 a.m., they're there till 7 a.m. the next morning, that's their shift. And so that's what that's been our goal, and that's what we're moving towards. We still have some general alarms, and we still have some people up in Threes District. You'll know, like, Craig Duncan and Vargo and those individuals, and even Jeff Ellis that's on the full-time side, and John Myers. Those individuals up in Threes District too, they still respond into Threes. But we also have individuals that are still that long-term, individuals that have been on the part-time side that would still respond into the stations if we have those general alarms, which would be the times when we have 3 or 4 overlapping EMS calls. It's not always necessarily the big fires. So it's just a transition on the different model of what our department is today compared to what it was before.
So, can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, sure.
So the people that are
Mm-hmm.
full-timers, when they're at home, then, say like Lima, Archibald, more than half an hour from here, they're never expected to respond outside of their scheduled shifts.
Mr. President, Mrs. Ackerman, that is correct. They're not expected to respond outside of their expected shifts. They would be, we have mandatory, but mandatory times would come at a certain place following their union contract and when people can be mandatory. But otherwise, all personnel at the station currently, as we sit today, are all scheduled shifts. There's no more sit at home with a pager and wait for the call to come in. It's everybody has a scheduled shift.
Oh, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Thank you, Chief.
Yep.
Mr. Mayor, are you finished with your report?
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
there is.
but, hey, I'm so
ahead.
sorry. We have a motion by Ms. Pauloff, and I think it was Mr. Drake, second. Council, any objections? Hearing none, Mayor, council concurs.
And council, I did speak last week about Boomfest and the opportunities of possibly going forward and still having it. We are also on a very tight schedule with people, donations or commitments coming towards us. I would like, and I don't know what committee would come from, but next Wednesday, probably the Parks and Rec committee, if we would hold a Boomfest meeting, and we could discuss all the possibilities that give us an opportunity to still host it, or whether we would be better off just to cancel the concept of having Boomfest this year. So Parks is
Me.
you, and
What time do you want that?
what
What's
time
the
are you
date?
comfortable with?
Wednesday?
I picked Wednesday because we believe by then we could get some information from some of the other folks that are involved. And I think
What time would you, 6 o'clock, would that be good?
6 o'clock would be wonderful.
Council, Mr. Drake, I know you're on that committee along with, excuse me, I believe it's Mr. Wallenczak, or Mr. Horniak? Yeah. Does anybody have a problem with being Wednesday at
6 o'clock?
6 PM on the 18th?
Yes,
Next Wednesday.
not 2 days from today.
The 18th.
Is that-
Everybody okay with that so far? Okay, so, when it gets to my report. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, is that it?
And I appreciate it, Mr. Reeves. Thank you, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Major?
Thank you, Mr. President. I know we talked recently at a meeting about the tall grass around the city and some of the nuisance properties. So I just wanted to inform everybody that the inspection department, we are planning to do a tall grass and nuisance property blitz, so to speak. It'll be a first of its kind. I have driven through several neighborhoods, obviously not every single street, but I really personally have not seen a whole lot of tall grass properties in the neighborhoods. The majority of them that I did see, I think there were a few in my neighborhood. I don't like that, but don't know why, but they're out there. I mean, there are a few out there, and I understand. I did hear that some people don't like to call in and complain on their neighbors, and I totally get that. So just taking a little initiative to try to address some people's concerns, and also that it might not be for another week, so we're probably going to do sort of a notice to everybody, do a Facebook posting notice, let everybody know that, hey, we're going to be out. It'd be nice if people would mow their lawns themselves, but there are some out there that don't, and, you know, they have a responsibility to do that, so we'll be going out and doing a little bit of enforcement on that. We won't catch them all, so, you know, anybody feel free to call in, or if any council members get questions and want to field somebody else's call and turn them into us and into staff, we'll address them when we can. So just wanted to bring that up, and yeah, I can take any questions too if anybody has them, but I just wanted to let everybody know. And Mr. President, that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Ms. Pepora?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Pepora. Mr. Roman?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Roman. Ms. Pauloff?
No report, Mr. President.
Thank you, Ms. Pauloff. Mr. Wallenczak?
No report this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Wallenczak. Ms. Ackerman?
Mr. President, I don't know how well-known it is. The farming community lost a beekeeper, owner of the largest apiary service in the Northeast, and it serviced a lot of the local farmers on orchards, and a tragic accident just this last week. And I just feel really like, you know, when you say you warn for something bad not to happen, and you ask people, you know, hey, it's planting seasons, farming, slow down, you know, pay attention. And then you have a tragedy, it's like, would I bother to say anything? But I just want to give I've offered condolences to the family, the wife and 5 small children. Anyway, a lot of people in Oregon have reached out to them and been very considerate. Sorry. And it's just hard when you just talk to somebody and they get killed that same day. I'm not used to it. Like, you know, I mean, those of you in emergency services, I want to thank you for your responding in that situation. And that can't be easy for you guys to see that. Other than that, I just wanted to say to Mr. Major, the heavy rains have stopped. I think hopefully everybody can catch up on things now. It's been, for people that have more than a postage stamp, there's a lot of grass to take care of. As I told Mr. Major, a lot of our industrial area is really like that foxtail barley is just crazy bad on corduroy. So I don't know if that's OEDF or the city or whoever, but that's really bad. And the spec building is at Lallendorf and corduroy has been bad for over a year. And I've lost my, I wanted to thank Joel, and you can pass it on to Cassie, Ms. Rawson. Thank you for getting us on the list for, the Oregon is on the America 250 website now as a community that is celebrate. I was a little antsy because Northwood was on there, and not that it's competition or anything, but I do appreciate you following through with that and seeing Oregon, that we're going to recognize the 250th next year officially with the rest of our state. Sorry, I'm just kind of verklempt, for lack of a better word. Didn't think, I thought I kind of had a handle on it. Anyway, I'm sorry. I guess that's it. Anything else, I can talk to individuals personally. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ackerman. Mr. Salander?
Thank you, Mr. President. Nothing from my standing committee. I just wanted to correct something that was stated last at our last meeting, Committee of the Whole, by a citizen regarding the Lucas County Jail. I had searched and done my own research on it and was not able to find anything of it. So I gave a call to the Lucas County Commissioner, to one of them. We had a nice talk, and the jail, just to correct things, because that was a false statement, the jail is not condemned. And I know it was stated even in the meeting minutes that he had stated that it is condemned, or has been condemned, and that is not true. So the jail is not condemned. It's not in the best shape, but it's usable, and they do not have any current plans right now of building a new jail. There were some ceilings housed that they had to look at, and they were just able to repair them. They were not that bad, so they were able to repair them, and everything is fine. So just wanted to state that the statement about Lucas County Jail being condemned was a false statement. So it is not condemned. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Salander. Mr. Drake.
No report.
Thank you, Mr. Drake. Now, I do have something from my standing committee. We're going to have a meeting next Wednesday, June 18th at 6 PM, and the purpose is to discuss Boomfest. And I know Mrs. Ackerman had already asked, I was going to ask our police if they could give us an update about what had happened, but I don't think we need to touch that anymore.
If they have additional information, I'm in touch with the family and the business associate, so, I mean, I just make sure that they get that information, so.
Chiefs, are you willing to add anything to that? And then I heard that there was an article that we had a pedestrian hit last week. If you could update us on that, it'd be greatly appreciated.
Mr. President.
Thank you, Chief.
There were 2 fatal crashes that took place within the city within, I believe, a 4-day period, which is pretty unusual, very unusual. The first one was a pedestrian. It was a dark roadway. Both are still under investigation, so I don't want to get too far into it. But there was a pedestrian who was on foot who apparently walked out into traffic and was struck by a vehicle, and he did pass at the hospital. Additionally, as Councilwoman Ackerman had stated, there was a beekeeper who was operating in the roadway on a piece of, like a forklift type of piece of farm equipment. It was a dark roadway late at night, and that vehicle was struck by an oncoming vehicle. The driver of each of those vehicles in both fatal crashes, there was no intoxication, there was no excessive speed, or anything that we see at this point in the investigation. So 2 tragic events, obviously, in a very short period of time. You know, prayers to the families for both individuals. It's a tough thing, and for the emergency responders who, and police and fire who both responded to it. Like I said, they're both still under investigation. We have our own crash team that specializes in that. They came out, and they're going to continue to investigate and finish up the full investigation with all the details on that.
Thank you, Chief. Council, anything further for tonight's meeting? Hearing none, I will seek a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mrs. Pauloff.
Second.
Second by Mr. Salander. Any objection? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.